should know by now if Colorado's vaccination sweepstakes worked. Like, did it boost vaccination rates here like it did in other states? Turning our pandemic science into a tool to fight more common illnesses. That funny feeling is state legislators reaching into your pocket for billions in fees to fix Colorado's roads. And it's been a year since this. We're starting a new project here on Next Tonight, something that I hope that we can work on together each week. $3.9 million for Colorado's nonprofits later. I would like to offer you a little piece of my home as a token of my appreciation. And this deceptive road sign got you sharing your favorite Look Twice road signs. Don't go away, because this is next. Colorado's about to draw its first $1 million vaccine sweepstakes winner. By now, we should already know if that incentivized people to get vaccinated. Before we know that, know this. Today, Colorado rolled out a vaccine incentive for young people. $50,000 scholarships for kids ages 12 to 17 who've got at least one dose of the vaccine. And then in 2 days, it's the adults who get to play the odds with the first $1 million drawing. But again, the key question, did the sweepstakes work? Here's Marshall Zellinger.
That's right, you could win $1 million.
When Democratic Governor Jared Polis went all carnival barker last week, announcing 5 $1 million prizes for getting vaccinated, Colorado's vaccination rates stayed rather steady.
What I think would have happened without this giveaway is a greater rapid drop-off in interest. I don't think anybody was expecting a spike.
The day Polis announced the contest saw a 114% climb in vaccines from the day before. But the day before was a Monday, which historically has been a slow day for vaccines. The rest of the week, the number of vaccines administered hovered around the same number before dropping over Memorial Day weekend.
We're looking at making sure that there's not a rapid decline in vaccination rates, that we can keep up the interest.
Compare Colorado's week of vaccinations to all vaccinations across the country. The day Polis announced the contest, Colorado went up. The nation dropped from the day before, though vaccinations nationwide climbed a bit higher over the week than Colorado. Then there's that sticky area of whether or not you believe you're entered in the drawing.
People should be very reassured in general that they're eligible for the drawing.
Heather Roth knows the ins and outs of the SIS, the database used to determine who could win $1 million. She explains why your record is likely there, even if you cannot find it by putting in your information.
It all starts with what information the patient provided to the provider at the time of the vaccination service. So if they provided the cell phone, they provided the email address, that's step one. Step two is the provider actually taking that information and reporting it correctly into the system. A lot of records do not have cell phone attached to them. A lot of records do not have email attached to them. Some records might have the name misspelled a little bit. Anything like that throws it off.
There's still no magic workaround other than contacting the SIS help desk like so many have in the last week.
We've heard from thousands of Coloradans who are very excited about the drawing and who want to make sure that they're in it. 99% of the people that we have assisted at the State Health Department have been in the system.
Who are the 1%, you ask? The snowbirds, basically, the people who got vaccinated out of state but live in state. If you're one of those, you can contact the SIS help desk, and as long as you can provide proof of your vaccine and proof of residency in Colorado, you will be added to the database for the drawing for the $1 million.
Yeah, Marshall, when you first talked about this, I went and I tried to find my own vaccination record. It wasn't in there, but I distinctly remember figuring out the information, filling out the information. So I'm confident it's there, and I'm just going to move on with life.
The best thing that could perhaps happen on Friday is if the winner is someone who cannot currently find themselves in the database and can be like, look, just because you can't find yourself doesn't mean you can't win.
If one of us wins it, there's going to be some serious questions asked. We probably wouldn't be able to keep it. All right. Thank you, Marshall. Almost 2.6 million Coloradans have completed the vaccine process. So they're in the sweepstakes, more than 45% of the state population. You got another 440,000 people waiting on their second dose. They're in it as well because they got the one. Colorado's COVID hospitalizations keep dropping. Great news. Patient counts are the lowest they've been since mid-April. 27 patients left overnight, so we're down to 429. Our test positivity rate is the best that it's been since fall. Just under 3% yesterday. We've been hovering around 2.8% for the last week. Isn't good news good? The pandemic may permanently change the way that we develop vaccines. This is also encouraging. Scientists say that the possibilities beyond COVID could impact how we treat all kinds of things, including cancer. Anusha Roy takes a look at the future of mRNA technology.
First discovered in the early 1960s, the possibility that it could be used in medicine first started being explored in the 1980s.
There was a point where using mRNA was almost laughed at or not taken seriously.
You know, the scientists are always skeptical and always very aware of the problems and the hurdles along the way. And it's the courageous, creative people that take on those difficult challenges.
No one is laughing anymore.
Without a doubt, this is the start of a new era.
David Bentley is the co-director of the RNA Bioscience Initiative at Anschutz Medical Campus and has been studying this for 35 years.
Have we permanently changed the way that we approach developing vaccines?
I think so. I think so. The thing about messenger RNA technology is it's very nimble, it's very flexible. It's a technology that can respond to a new challenge rapidly.
Is there a way to apply what we've learned recently to other sicknesses?
It's now conceivable that in the future, vaccines, personalized vaccines against cancer cells could be developed. So we know that cancer cells express abnormal proteins. If we could immunize people against those abnormal proteins and use our immune system to fight the cancer, it's a very exciting possibility. It's not a reality yet. It's been a dream for a long time, and mRNA technology might make that dream a reality.
So the Association of American Medical Colleges said start adding other diseases to that list like hepatitis B, cystic fibrosis, TB, and malaria. They said all of it warrants being researched because of the way mRNA technology can be tailored to different diseases, and especially after watching the effectiveness when you look at the Moderna and the Pfizer vaccines, Kyle.
Anusha, first off, David Bentley has a tremendous voice, and he should narrate science documentaries or something like that. Second, though, so you talk about some of the pluses of mRNA technology, how that might be used. What are the drawbacks that they caution about?
Yeah, I totally agree, Kyle. He was very captivating to talk to today. And so, one of the drawbacks to just keep in mind is we watch this concentrated focus and all of this money from around the world being poured into one specific area, right? It was to develop the vaccines for COVID. And so there's a concern, right? Does that intensity keep up with all of these other ventures? And the hope is from the folks that we talked to today was that it's easier to invest in something that you've already seen work in this capacity, and then hopefully that kind of research will continue into the future.
You would certainly hope that with something like cancer, we could get an equivalent global focus on it. Really interesting. Thank you very much, Anusha. Appreciate it. Tonight marks the first anniversary of your Word of Thanks micro-giving campaigns. So, we started this out saying that $5 donations from a whole lot of people could go a long way. Never did we imagine that you would raise $3.9 million for nonprofits from the heart of the city out to the western slope, from the suburbs to the San Luis Valley, up to Fort Collins and out to the plains. You have been all over in the past year. Tonight, let's celebrate 1 year of your amazing generosity by supporting a nonprofit that changes the lives of whole generations of families in Colorado. They help single parents and their children build a foundation of education, health, financial security. We're talking about an impact that lasts lifetimes. Your Word of Thanks first anniversary micro-giving campaign this week supports Warren Village, the longtime nonprofit that works alongside single parents for years in order to get them on their feet. Warren Village provides 2 or 3 years of housing for single parents and their kids. They pay a portion of their income in rent, but the real focus is on all the wraparound support they get, the career coaching to start or to finish a degree, getting established for a secure financial future. And all the while, their children are receiving specialized childcare and early education that can help them overcome any learning difficulties or mental health issues that they have. Your Word of Thanks campaigns have offered a lot of emergency help to Coloradans in tough spots. What Warren Village has done for almost 50 years is really quite different. It's life transformation for single parents and their children. It is years of intensive wraparound support for 2 generations at once. If you text the word thanks to 303-871-1491, I will send you that link to donate. You can also find it wherever you find Next online. As always, I'll match the first 50 donations of $5 to get us started. I will never ask you to give to a cause that I don't support myself. And to celebrate 1 year of your generosity, we've transformed the woodpile backdrop from Next old home studio into literal tokens of appreciation. Next logo on one side, and then I will sign the back as a personal thanks for your donations. These wood tokens are still being made, so I don't know how many we're going to have. We're hoping to get a few thousand of them out of the woodpile. When we run out of the tokens for people who donate to Warren Village this week, I will start signing and stamping thank you notes for each and every one of you, because I simply cannot thank you enough for what you have done for Colorado's small to mid-sized nonprofits during what was a really rough year for them. If you're able to give again this week, the very least that I can offer is a small token of my appreciation. Thank you.
Colorado's new road and bridge plan starts with a steamroller right over Republicans at the Capitol who wanted Coloradans to vote on it and got flattened instead. She was the first woman to lead Denver's biggest business group. We'll ask if her next plan is to become the first woman elected mayor. And you had a lot to say about that road sign that lies to get drivers to turn around. It's not the only road sign in our state that basically says, "Get off my lawn." That's next. Colorado drivers block tax increases more regularly than I-70 ski traffic. So, in order to raise billions of dollars for roads and bridges, Democrats passed them on the left today, going around the Taxpayer Bill of Rights to pass billions in fee hikes to fund infrastructure. The bill increases a per-gallon charge on fuel as well as fees on ride-sharing services, and there will be new fees for home deliveries as well. The plan passed today also heavily invests in electric vehicles. Not one Republican in the House voted for this today. Didn't matter because Democrats run the show there. $5.3 billion plan now goes to the Senate for final approval. Could be signed by Democratic Governor Jared Polis within a week. We are getting some feedback tonight about our story on road signs designed to deter drivers. Bomar did not get back to us about the sign there that tells people they cannot cut through Bomar to get to Sheridan when you can totally cut through there to get to Sheridan. They apparently just don't want you or me in their neighborhood. Now, on private property, you got a lot of leeway with the signs. Michael in Boulder has a sign on his land where drivers kept getting lost. It simply reads, "Not likely the road you want." Penny's favorite sign is this one in Virginia Dale in Larimer County. "Go away." Not a real subtle sign to visitors. And back to Bomar, that tiny town near southwest Denver that doesn't want us riffraff on its public streets. A viewer, Pete, wrote in with a great story about a sweet older lady he knew years back who drove this real beat-up pickup truck. And she used to tell how even she would get tailed by police if she dared to drive the public streets of Bomar in that vehicle, and got a great laugh that they suspected that the elderly lady in the beat-up pickup was up to no good in the neighborhood. The longtime leader of Denver's business community is stepping down, or perhaps stepping up.
Are you running for Denver mayor?
And if it walks like a dog and rides in the car like a dog, it surely is Colorado's favorite pet, right? The first woman to lead Denver's business community is leaving the job. Kelly Bruff's always talked up as a candidate for Denver mayor. And with Mayor Hancock in his last term, we figured we should probably just ask her today, right? I mean, Denver Metro Chamber of Commerce's press release about her leaving the job sure reads like a campaign announcement. It lists bullet points of big accomplishments during her 12-year tenure, like increasing financial support for higher ed and advocating for primary elections for unaffiliated voters. We asked her straight up, "You gonna run for political office?"
No, I'm not running for any office. Those priorities came from our membership. Our membership identified 5 critical areas of work that we needed to accomplish, and that's how those key areas of performance were established. So what I think people forget is the business community needs the public sector, the nonprofit sector to be very successful for business to be successful, and vice versa. So I think there isn't a huge separation between What makes an economy work requires all of those things to work and work really well.
Ruff says that she wants to work in the housing or education sectors next. Last day with the chamber is September 1st.
In spite of the high and mid-level cloud cover, temperatures today finally in the 70s. Thunderstorms were tracking or moving away from the area, and we're leaving, well, Colorado with clear skies tonight and a warmer day coming up tomorrow. Big dominant ridge of high pressure will cut off the flow of moisture into the state. Only isolated foothill storms likely tonight and again tomorrow, with more sunshine tomorrow. Fair skies and 52 tonight with sunshine, low 80s tomorrow, upper 80s on Thursday and Saturday, the first 90-degree day of the season, with a 20% chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon, both days over the upcoming weekend.
The most Colorado thing we saw today are weird-looking dogs. I mean, super strange-looking dog hanging its head out of a Jeep on I-25. Marissa spotted this in bumper-to-bumper traffic the other day. I get just dogs love to feel the breeze, even the little tiny green ones. And Colorado's dogs love a long walk, like the one Sarah saw out at Columbine Open Space in Castle Rock. This appears to be a mix of some larger breeds, or maybe just a very small person. I'm not sure. It's very difficult to tell at a distance, but I imagine that dog goes through a lot of kibble. Send us pictures of unusual dogs you see with their Coloradans. Email next at 9news.com or use the hashtag HeyNext on Twitter. It's our 1-year anniversary. I got you something. It's our chance to help struggling single parents and their kids for generations. Well, you get to take home a token of my appreciation for all of your generosity through Word of Thanks over the last year. That and your feedback next. You know, especially in the last year, it's so easy to get discouraged about this or about that. And I hope the next time you're not feeling great, you remember that if nothing else, you've been part of something really special in Colorado. This is the first anniversary of your Word of Thanks micro-giving campaigns, which going to tonight raised $3.9 million for nonprofits across the state. This week, it is a special fundraiser for Warren Village. It's a longtime nonprofit that serves single parents with kids. It offers them years of housing, career support, childcare, and financial counseling so that when they come out after those 2-3 years, they've got a solid foundation. It changes the rest of their lives. We're talking about generations of people in our community. Text the word thanks to 303-871-1491. I will send you the link to donate. We're turning the old home studio woodpile backdrop into tokens of appreciation for this week's donors. And when these are gone, and I think they may be gone eventually, not yet, I'll send you each a thank you letter for being part of a powerful force for good over the last year. We've got a woodworker who's actually cutting up the logs, and she thinks that we can get several thousand of them. At last check, you had raised $30,000 for Warren Village in about 15 minutes. Josh wrote, I absolutely love the giving campaign and can't ever tell you how happy it made me to be part of the giving each week. Josh, we heard that from so many people, that the act of giving was an act of joy, and it was an act of celebration for people. And I hope that what folks have taken away from this is also just power in numbers. The number of folks who write into me and say, all I can do is $5, but I do it every week. You've seen where that got us, all right? You've seen where that got. We crossed $4 million in charitable giving by the next audience in a year because a lot of people pitched in and did something together. For that, you have my thanks and this. I'll see you next time.